morning and welcome to Tuesdays with the Pilgrim, as we continue our journey with Christiana, her sons, and Mercy. Today we pick up in chapter 21, part 1, Arrival at the Interpreter's House. After they had talked a while longer, they drew near a house standing in the way that had been built for the refreshment of pilgrims. This was the house of the interpreter, who was described in the first part of this story. When they came to the door, they heard some people talking inside. Listening carefully, they thought they heard Christiana mentioned by name, though the people inside had no idea she was standing at their door. News concerning Christiana and her boys and their pilgrimage had preceded them, and those inside were very pleased because they had heard such good reports about Christian's wife, the very woman who some time ago had been so set against going on such a pilgrimage. After standing there for a while longer and listening to the good things being said about her, Christiana finally knocked on the door as she had done at the gate before. A young woman named Innocent opened the door and saw them standing there. "With whom would you like to speak?" asked Innocent. "We have been told that this is a place of privilege that has been prepared for those who have become pilgrims," answered Christiana. "We who stand at your door are pilgrims, and we ask that you please allow us to share in your hospitality. As you can see, the day is past, and we don't want to go any further tonight. May I please tell the master of the house who is calling?" "My name is Christiana. I was the wife of the pilgrim who traveled this way several years ago. These are our 4 sons, and this young woman is accompanying us on our pilgrimage as well." Then Innocent ran in and said to those inside, "Guess who is at the door? It is Christiana with her children and a friend. They were asking for lodging here for tonight." They all jumped for joy and went and told their master. So he came to the door, and upon seeing her he asked, "Are you the Christiana whom Christian the good pilgrim left behind when he accepted the pilgrim's life?" "Yes, I am that woman who was so hard-hearted as to make light of my husband's anxieties, and who let him go on his journey alone. And these are our 4 sons. But now I have come on the pilgrimage too, because I am convinced that this is the only right way." Then Interpreter, the master of the house, said, "Then the word has been fulfilled that is written of the man who said to his son, 'Son, go and work today in the vineyard.' 'I will not,' he answered, but later he changed his mind and went." "So be it, amen," said Christiana. "May God grant that this saying be true of me, and grant that I may be found at peace with him in the end, without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless." Chapter 21, Part 2. They are invited inside. "But why do you stand at the door like this?" asked the interpreter. Come in, daughter of Abraham. We were just talking about these things, for we had heard the news that you had become a pilgrim. Come, boys, come in. Come, young lady, come in." So he received them all into his house. Once inside, they were told to sit down and rest a while, and those in the house came back into the room to see them. One smiled, and then another, until they were all smiling for joy that Christiana had become a pilgrim. They warmly received the boys as well, and they treated Mercy also with tender love. Chapter 21, Part 3. Their tour of the house. After a while, Interpreter took them into his significant rooms and showed them what Christian had seen some time before. They saw the man in the cage, the man and his dream, the man that cut his way through his enemies, and the picture of the greatest of them all, together with the rest of those things that had been so profitable to Christian. Chapter 21, Part 4. The Man with the Rake. Following the tour, the interpreter gave them some time to digest what they had seen. Then he took them into a room where they saw a man who could look only in a downward direction. In his hand he held a rake, and someone was standing over his head with a celestial crown in his hand, offering to trade it for the rake. The man, however, never looked up, nor did he acknowledge the offer, but he kept raking the straws, small sticks, and dust that were on the floor. "I believe I understand what this means," said Christiana. "Isn't this a figure of a man of this world, good sir?" "You have answered correctly," said the interpreter. "His rake illustrates his carnal mind. As you can see, he would rather rake up straws and sticks and dust on the floor than obey him who is calling from above with a celestial crown. The point of this is to show that for some, heaven is no more than a fairy tale. They think that only those things that are here on earth are real. In view of that fact, he can only look down. You can recognize the truth that earthly things, when they are allowed to control people's minds, have the power to carry their hearts completely away from God." "Oh, deliver me from this rake," cried Christiana. "That prayer," said the interpreter, "has been so little used that it is almost rusty. Scarcely 1 in 10,000 will pray, 'Keep me from the snares of earthly riches.' The straws and sticks and dust of this world are greatly prized, and most people seek after them." Mercy and Christiana both wept and cried out, "Oh, it is only too true." Chapter 21, Part 5. The Spider on the Wall. After the interpreter had finished showing them this, he took them to the very best room in the house, a very fine room indeed. He told them to look around and see if they could find anything profitable there. They looked all around the room, but could find nothing that they thought useful. There was a very large spider on one of the walls, but they overlooked it. "Sir, I see nothing at all," said Mercy. But Christiana said nothing. "Look again," said the interpreter. So Mercy looked around one more time and said, "I see nothing but an ugly spider clinging to the wall." Then the interpreter said, "Is there only one spider in all this spacious room?" Then Christiana's eyes began to mist, for she was a woman with a sharp understanding, and she said, "Yes, sir, there are more here than one, ones whose venom is far more destructive than that one's." Then Interpreter looked very pleased at her and said, "You have spoken the truth." This made Mercy blush and the boys also, because now they were all beginning to understand the mystery. Then Interpreter said, "As you see, the spider's arms fasten themselves even to the walls of kings' palaces. And why do we take note of this, except it doesn't matter how full of the venom of sin you might be, yet by the arm of faith you may lay hold of and dwell in the best room that belongs to the king's house above." "I thought it meant something like this," said Christiana, "but I couldn't imagine it all. I thought that we were like spiders, and that we looked like ugly creatures no matter how fine the room we were in. But it didn't enter my mind that by this spider, this venomous and ugly creature, we were to learn a lesson about faith. It has taken hold with its hands, as I can see, and lives in the best room in the house. God has made nothing in vain." They seemed happy after that. Nevertheless, tears were in their eyes. They looked at one another and also bowed before the interpreter. Next week we'll pick up with Chapter 21, Part 6, The Hen and Her Chicks. Until then, take care, stay safe, and God bless.